Hello and welcome to another video. Today I'm starting out by cutting some Simon Says Stamp mint cardstock to a standard size card, and then I'm scoring it to be a top folding card. Once I've scored it, I'm taking some post-it tape and I'm covering the back of the cardstock to protect it from getting color. So now I'm taking a clear plastic paper sheet and then I'm just putting that behind it to protect my work surface. Now I'm taking a stencil. This is one that I've created myself, but there are many like this one to buy. I'm just taking some clear acetate and just cut out some stripes on it. Now I'm taking some evergreen bough distress ink and a mini round blending tool, and I'm just blending that in from the side. When you do this, you want to make sure you have a really light hand so you don't get many streaks of color on there. A good technique to use when you have a blending tool is to go in small round circles. But when you have this stripe pattern, that will just make the stripes move around, so you have to go in the direction of the stripes. This doesn't give you as nice of a blended effect, but it still looks great. Now once I have completed that side, I'm moving on to the other side. So I just change the direction of the paper and I'm just doing the same. Once I've finished that, I'm just taking the blending tool and without the stencil, I'm just going around the corners just to add a bit of dimension to the card. I'm doing this on all sides except for the fold side because I want to fold the card before I do that. That will make me get the same effect on that side because the edge helps give a nice effect. So I'm just putting that down onto the clear plastic again, and I'm just doing exactly the same thing but on the fold. So now I'm going in circles like I said before because it gives it a nicer effect. So now I'm doing exactly the same thing but on the inside, but I want to leave the center area and the normal color. So I'm just doing it a very small bit on the edges. I just think this looks really nice and it gives it a nice effect on the inside as well. So now I'm taking this pattern paper. It's actually Christmas pattern paper, but I'm just going to use the patterns in there and the ones that don't look Christmassy. So I'm using this one. They're all in the same kind of color scheme, but they have slightly different patterns. So I'm just taking the smallest balloon from the Balloons Wafer Thin Dies from Simon Says Stamps, and I'm using the 3 smallest ones. So here I'm having the smallest one, and I'm taking this one, or I'm getting this small balloon, and then I've done the same with the other ones. So now I'm going in with a distress marker in walnut stain, and I'm using my mini blending tool again, and I'm just picking up that color and taking it in from the outside. This just makes these balloons stand out a bit more on top of the background, and it just adds a nice effect as well. So when I run out of the color on the clear block, I'm just adding some more on there. It's great to put these colors on a clear block before you put them on the paper because it's an easy way to pick it up with the blending tool. So now I've zoomed in and you can see it a bit more. You can see the pattern and how that looks. And now you can see how it stands out on that. So I'm just doing that on all 3 balloons. And yeah. On this smallest one, I didn't want a huge amount of color because I wanted the pattern to show quite a bit. So I just lifted it up and did it from there instead. Once I've done that, I'm taking the click combo of stamp set and dies, and I'm using this smile, both the die and the stamp. So I'll be die cutting that out of the biggest balloon. So I'm just placing it on there, and then I'm taking some post-it tape again, and I'm just adhering it on there. This is just to make it stay in the place where I want it while I die cut it. So then I'm just running that through my die cutting machine and cutting that out. Once I've cut it out, I have taken some white paper and just adhere that to the back with some post-it tape, so it's just temporary. And then I'm taking the smile die and I'm going to stamp that with some jet black archival ink onto the back piece. These dies and the stamp set are meant to fit together, so the die just perfect outline of the word. So the dot over the I didn't stamp properly, so I just took a black distress marker to fill it in. You don't have to use a distress marker here, that's just one I had handy, so you can use any black marker. So once I filled that out, filled it in, I'm taking away the back piece, and I'm just using a scrap piece of white there. And then I'm taking some foam squares onto the back, and then I'm taking some foam tape onto the back of the white piece. This is so that it makes it easier when I want to adhere it later on. So now I've taken off the back of the foam squares, so it will adhere, and then I'm just placing that onto the white piece. And then there's a little bit of the white showing behind, so I'm just taking a pair of scissors and I'll cut that off in a second. And I think this adds a really nice effect, how the smile is behind the balloon, and it looks really nice. So now I wanted to stamp the sentiment to read "Smile, it's your birthday," but I don't have a stamp that says "It's your birthday," so I used 2 different stamps from the birthday messages stamp set from Simon Says Stamp, and I'm just using some post-it tape to mask up the areas I don't want to stamp while I ink it up, and then I'm taking that tape away. When I've taken the tape away, it will just stamp those 2 words that I want. So since I've added the foam squares already, this doesn't stamp properly, so I'm going in with a black marker and I'm just filling in the words. Had I done this card again, I would have stamped this before I adhered the back piece, but I didn't, so I had to fill it in. Now, when I was gonna do the next thing, I decided to put it on top of my foam squares to see if I could get a bit more to get it to stamp better. It didn't work properly, but it worked a bit better this time. So now I'm taking the next stamp, and this one you say happy birthday to you. So I'm just masking off the 2 sides to get the word birthday on itself, and then I'm just inking it up. Once I've done that, I took the tape away and then I stamped it on there. This one stamped a lot better, but it still didn't get properly, so I filled it in as well. So now I've added some foam tape onto the back of the second smallest balloon, and I'm just adhering that, and I'm using the biggest balloon to make sure I get it in the right place. So I press that down, and then I adhere the bigger balloon as well. And then I've taken the smallest balloon and I added double of foam squares onto one side, so that it will adhere properly on top of the balloon and on the bottom. So I just put that on there as well. So now I'm moving on to the inside, and I'm just taking the stamp that I used before, which says happy birthday to you, and I'm stamping that on the inside to complete the inside. I have drawn in some string onto the balloons on the front of the card, and then it was done. So here you can see a picture of the finished card, and I really enjoyed making this card. I think that stenciling is a really cool effect you can add to almost any card in the background, and it just makes it look a lot more complete, and it's very easy and you can do it for anything, and it doesn't have to be striped stencil, of course. You can use dots or whatever you want and whatever you can find. So I really hope you enjoy this and that you watch my other videos. Thank you. Bye.